Welcome back everyone, and thank you for joining me today. Whether you are a long-time coin collector, a curious beginner, or someone who just discovered an old quarter in a drawer and wondered if it could be worth more than 25 cents, you are in the right place. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in modern American numismatics, the Liberty Washington quarter dollar from 1984 with the P mint mark. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary coin you may have spent at a grocery store or tossed into a parking meter decades ago. But beneath its familiar design lies a world of rare errors, unusual minting mistakes, historical context, and extraordinary possibilities that can push its value far beyond its humble face value, with some examples rumored, discussed, and traded in elite circles at figures reaching as high as $709,000. This is not just a story about money, it is a story about history, chance, craftsmanship, and how tiny imperfections can turn everyday objects into legendary treasures. When the Washington quarter was introduced in 1932, it was meant to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. What began as a commemorative issue soon became a permanent design, replacing the standing Liberty quarter. By 1984, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for over 50 years, and most Americans barely gave it a second thought. Quarters were everywhere, passed from hand to hand, jingling in pockets, and stacking up in jars. The year 1984 sits in an interesting place in U.S. history. The country was emerging from economic uncertainty, minting technology was evolving, and the demand for circulating coinage was high. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P mint mark, was producing millions upon millions of quarters to meet everyday needs. In such massive production runs, perfection becomes nearly impossible, and that is exactly where rarity is born. The 1984 P Washington quarter was struck in large quantities, and under normal circumstances, a typical circulated example is worth face value or slightly more. Even uncirculated pieces in average condition usually trade for modest sums. However, the coin collecting world is not driven by averages. It is driven by exceptions. Errors, anomalies, and unusual characteristics are what transform a common coin into a rare prize. The story of the 1984 P quarter's extraordinary potential value lies almost entirely in these exceptions, in coins that slipped through quality control and entered circulation carrying unique flaws that no other coin shares. One of the most important factors that can elevate the value of a 1984 P Washington quarter is the presence of mint errors. These errors can occur at nearly every stage of the minting process, from the preparation of the metal planchet to the striking of the design and even after the coin leaves the press. Each type of error tells a story about what went wrong inside the mint, and collectors are often fascinated by these stories as much as by the coins themselves. Planchet errors are among the most intriguing. Before a coin is struck, blank metal discs called planchets are cut from large metal sheets. If something goes wrong at this stage, the resulting coin can be dramatically different from normal examples. Some 1984 P quarters have been found struck on improperly sized planchets, including those intended for other denominations. A quarter struck on a smaller or larger planchet may show missing design elements, incorrect weight, or unusual dimensions. These errors are instantly recognizable to trained eyes and highly desirable to collectors. In extreme cases, a quarter struck on the wrong metal composition can appear lighter, darker, or even silvery in color, creating a visual anomaly that stands out immediately. Another category of error that can dramatically affect value is off-center strikes. These occur when the planchet is not properly aligned within the coin press at the moment of striking. The result can be a coin with part of the design missing and a blank crescent of metal where the die failed to make contact. Minor off-center strikes may add only modest value, but dramatic examples, where a significant portion of the design is missing yet the date and mint mark remain visible, can command serious attention. For the 1984 P Washington quarter, a high percentage off-center strike with clear identifying details can be worth thousands of dollars, and in extraordinary cases, much more. Double strikes and multiple strikes represent another fascinating class of errors. These occur when a coin is struck more than once by the dies, often with slight rotation or misalignment between strikes. The result can be overlapping images of Washington's portrait, doubled lettering, or ghostly outlines that appear to move across the coin's surface. Each multiple strike error is unique, essentially making the coin a one-of-a-kind artifact. Collectors prize these pieces not only for their rarity but also for their dramatic visual impact. A spectacular double-struck 1984 P quarter can fetch staggering sums, especially if the error is bold and well documented. Die errors are another critical area where value can skyrocket. Dies are the engraved tools used to strike the coin's design onto the planchet. Over time, dies wear out, crack, or suffer damage. When this happens, the defects can be transferred onto every coin struck thereafter until the die is replaced. One of the most famous types of die errors is the double die, where design elements appear doubled due to misalignment during the die creation process. On a 1984 P Washington quarter, a strong double die error might show clear doubling on the date, the word liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust." These errors are highly sought after and can command enormous premiums, especially when the doubling is obvious without magnification. Die cracks and die breaks are also significant. As dies age, stress fractures can form, appearing as raised lines on the struck coin. In extreme cases, chunks of the die can break away entirely, leaving large raised blobs or missing sections in the design. These dramatic errors are often called cud errors. A 1984 P quarter with a large, well-defined cud can be incredibly rare, and collectors are willing to pay substantial sums for such pieces. The more visually striking and unusual the error, the higher the potential value. Mint mark anomalies are especially important for Philadelphia minted coins. Traditionally, Philadelphia did not use mint marks, but by 1984, the P mint mark was standard on quarters. Errors involving the mint mark can include misplaced mint marks, doubled mint marks, or even missing mint marks when one should be present. While missing mint marks on Philadelphia coins are not always errors, certain anomalies related to the mint mark's position or appearance can add significant value. A visibly doubled P mint mark on a 1984 quarter can be a major attraction for collectors specializing in modern errors. Another factor that can elevate a 1984 P Washington quarter's value is condition, particularly when combined with errors. Coins are graded on a scale that measures their level of preservation, from heavily worn to pristine mint state. A high-grade coin with a dramatic error is the holy grail for many collectors. If a rare error coin has survived decades of circulation without significant wear, its value can multiply exponentially. Professional grading and authentication play a crucial role here. Coins certified by respected grading services are more likely to achieve top prices at auction because buyers have confidence in their authenticity and condition. The story of a quarter being worth hundreds of thousands of dollars often involves a perfect storm of factors. Imagine a 1984 P Washington quarter struck on the wrong planchet, with a dramatic off-center strike, a strong double die, and preserved in near-perfect condition. Such a coin would be almost mythical in the numismatic world. It is in these extreme, almost unbelievable combinations that values like $709,000 enter the conversation. These are not everyday finds, but they are not impossible either. History has shown time and again that extraordinary coins can emerge from ordinary circumstances. Collectors and investors are also driven by the narrative and provenance of a coin. A 1984 P quarter discovered in circulation, authenticated, and later sold at a high-profile auction becomes part of numismatic lore. Its story adds to its allure and can push bidding higher as collectors compete not just for the object, but for a piece of history. The idea that such a valuable coin could still be hiding in a jar of spare change fuels excitement and keeps people searching. The broader market for error coins has grown significantly over the years. As more collectors become educated about minting processes and error types, demand for unique pieces has increased. Modern coins, once dismissed as uninteresting, are now being re-examined with fresh eyes. The 1984 P Washington quarter benefits from this shift in perspective. It represents a bridge between classic coinage and modern mass production, making its errors particularly intriguing. Another aspect to consider is the psychological appeal of transformation. There is something deeply compelling about the idea that a common object can become extraordinarily valuable due to small, unintended differences. This appeal drives not only collectors but also casual enthusiasts who dream of discovering a hidden treasure. The 1984 P quarter embodies this dream perfectly. It looks ordinary, feels ordinary, and yet, under the right circumstances, it can be anything but ordinary. Economic factors also play a role in how such values are discussed and perceived. Inflation, precious metal prices, and shifts in collecting trends all